It's a penis. Okay, here we go. So, to add to the toxicity topic, I used to let people get to me and engage them because I thought someone would just stand up to their BS. I raged and even had a mental breakdown a couple of times. Jesus. Yeah, don't do that to yourself. Fuck that, mute them, don't engage, don't even care. You'll enjoy the game much more, I guarantee. Yes, like, it's not a matter of... Okay. So this is the thing that someone who is trolling doing. Like, there's a couple of different... There's like 2 different threads here, I suppose, that you could follow. If someone joins a game, picks a shit hero, and starts going, I'm Hanzo, you guys are picking shit team comp, aren't I funny? I'm going to jump off the map repeatedly. There's nothing you can do about it. Blizzard don't ban me. Don't engage that. Like, they have joined the game clearly intending to disrupt the game. What is engaging with them going to do? You're not, like, they're not there to be reasoned with. They're not there to listen to your arguments and go, hey, maybe I am the arsehole. No, they've joined the game knowing I'm gonna be an arsehole. Look at all these guys. And because, you know, I have a YouTuber streamer brain, all I can imagine is this person going, this is going on my YouTube channel. Ha ha, and I'm gonna have a stupid face of thumbnail. Top 10 trolling moments in competitive Overwatch, lol. And I'm gonna get a fucking 100,000 views because people do actually watch that bullshit, and it's terrible. And so what you do is you put them on mute, put them on ignore, and play your game. Or move on with your life. More important things to worry about. That's sort of thread number 1. Thread number 2 is the trickier one, which is that someone's been playing, they get frustrated, they get angry, and then they start throwing. These are people you can generally reason with a little bit, because they've joined the game and they're playing, and they can generally be, you can sometimes reason with them, sometimes not. My advice is you can give it, like, give it one shot. And what you do is you don't go, you fucking idiot, you're ruining the fucking game, oh my fucking god, what are you doing? Because that's escalating. That is escalating the problem. And, you know, it happens, you get frustrated. If you're feeling frustrated and you want to shout at this person, don't shout at them. Don't even say anything, just move on with your life, report them, whatever. If you are feeling calm, what you can try and do is say, you know, hello, I know you're frustrated, but what you're doing right now really isn't helping. Can you just try and play the game? Mute yourself, mute us, whatever, but just try and play the game. And if they go, no, fuck off, then move on with your life. Like, and report them. But don't get sucked into, oh, I'm going to stand up to the bully. Because the way you stand up to these bullies isn't by trying to reason them down. No, they're poking you and going, ha, 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 ha. And there's nothing you can actually do back to them. And if you do start poking them back, then they just poke you hard and go, ha, 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 ha. And that's all they're doing. So, yeah, don't engage that. Is a high energy ZARYA a good counter to D.Va? Yes, of course. True story, when I was at BlizzCon, when D.Va was first unveiled, I remember playing a game against a bunch of the Yogscast guys who had sat down in the press area to play some Overwatch, and they picked like 5 D.Vas and a Mercy or something. This was back when you could stack heroes, and the way that I figured out to counter it was I told everyone, hey, just pick ZARYAs, and then you just spend all this time cutting people out of mechs, because D.Va can't stop you just cutting her out of the mech. With the changes upcoming to D.Va, still probably works fine. The rockets aren't, and the thing with the rockets as well is like she can't control them very well. So once you press the button to fire the rockets, she fires all the missiles. Fires the missiles. And so all the missiles come pouring out, and then you just sit there and you go, ha, and you put your barrier up and you eat them all, and then you kill D.Va even harder. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So the way you deal with D.Va, yeah, ZARYA is very, very good at it. Is it better to left click or to right click into grab a ZARYA? I've got mixed results from both. Both is the answer. Basically, you right click and then left click between right clicks is the most optimal way of doing it. So you right click, left click a little bit, 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 right click, and that will give you the most damage output. In my mind, though, it varies. So let me draw a graviton surge. So you got like a swirly. Okay, we have a grav. This is the grav. Oh, isn't it lovely? And we have 3 people in it. Okay, and one of these 3 people is actually Zenyatta. And you haven't seen Zen Trance in a while, so he's probably on like 90%. I would not feel bad, and starting with a right click, left clicking and burning down the Zen, and then right clicking again into this, just to eliminate the threat of Zenyatta activating Transcendence, and stopping all the fun. And this is doubly true also if this is a Mercy, this is also true if this is a Lucio, this is also true. Just kill them first, and you do that by throwing a right click in, and then left clicking down the important target, and then right clicking in again to finish. And then you can just right click down the rest if you really want. It's just a matter of sort of picking out what you can find and what you can kill. So yeah, get rid of those important targets first. When playing against the Zarya, when do you go for wearing down a bubble versus just waiting for it to go away? When, like, with Zarya, she very clearly starts glowing like a fucking supernova when she's on high charge. If Zarya turns the corner and everyone goes, oh, fucking hell, I can't see, that's when you just blow through the barrier. And you even say on voice chat, just ignore the barrier, just kill her. Because the difference between being on 90 charge and 100 charge isn't that huge. So what difference does it make if you blow through the barrier? If you kill her, kill her. Like, that's when you stop respecting it. So, you know, you don't have a direct insight into the enemy's area's charge. If she's, like, the things on her back are just like, kill her and call for killing her. As a Zarya, should I use Grav more aggressively? Using this game, I saw 2 supports and 1 DPS at the first point. I would have grabbed it. What's the balance between it then? I actually talked to this about Ryan. I talked to Ryan about this yesterday. Some people have the instinct to save Grav for a 6-man Grav. The argument that I always use, and remember the logic that I mentioned earlier that I said wasn't super helpful, but actually secretly is super helpful, is you got to ask yourself the question, does this Grav win the fight? If the Grav wins the fight, use it. And that can even be like a 1-man Grav, which is, it sounds strange, but Graviton Surge is treated like a ticket that's basically saying, if you redeem this ticket, you win the team fight. That's what a Graviton Surge is in my mind. That's the power it has. You pay the man at Blizzard, and the man at Blizzard goes, looks authentic, and then you win. Or any other transcendences and whatever. Okay, you move on with your life. But that's the logic I apply, and that's the filter I apply. So to take your example, 2 supports, 1 DPS, yes, grab it. You kill 3 people instantaneously, or you get out the support ultimates. Either way, worth it. Ideally, you'd be tracking the support ultimates, and maybe you try and bait it out before the Zen, like, you try and force the Zen to use Transcendence first, and then you grab, but in standard competitive, that's very difficult to do. So what I would say is, yeah, just, like, go for it. Don't wait for 5 people, don't wait for 6 people, you know, you're not Mercy. Don't wait for 6 people to, well, don't wait for 5 people to be dead just to press Q, or 5 people to be in a clump to press Q. If they have, like, their main DPS and they're being carried by, you know, a big dick Soldier 76, and you can grab him and 1 support, do it. Win the fight. Just take those targets out, and then the rest of your team just snowballs in and just wins the fight naturally. It's that simple. Just make sure you're winning the fight with it. So what I would say is avoid grabbing tanks, just to grab tanks, or just to grab a tank, just because it's very hard to blow through them, especially if it's like a Reinhardt and a Diva. Like, if you grab those 2 targets, they're just going to stay clumped on top of each other. They're going to be very hard to burn down, especially if, you know, Reinhardt has a lot of barrier, or Diva still has a lot of matrix. You're going to have a hard time killing that. Other than that, yeah, it's just put it through the filter. Does this win me the fight? If yes, okay, I'm going to use it. If you, the danger is this. The worst thing to do is this. You come out the other end of a fight and you lose, and you have Grav at the end of the fight. And there are opportunities maybe to get 2 people, 3 people, and you didn't use them. That feels really shit. Because it's like, well, and then you turn around and you go, well, there was never any chance to get it. There might have been a couple of chances, and it's a case of like, well, okay, maybe I should use it more aggressively. The one thing I will say is don't just throw it willy-nilly into Divas, Genjis, Reinhardts. Be very careful about that. On 2CP, sometimes you roll the enemy and then get rolled yourself. I feel like it's cockiness half the time. Any tips on getting a winning team off the tree to focus on a regular game? Off the tree. It's an interesting way of phrasing it. The way you do that is like a good indicator is usually the first point. If you suddenly get rolled on the first point, it's like, okay, guys, like, let's hold this. Sometimes teams are just better attacking than defending. Sometimes the enemy team snowballs it properly. But the big thing is just like, is paying attention to when people seem to be acting a little bit cocky and say, okay, guys, let's just focus up, get this done. There's nothing else you can really do. Like, you know, keep an eye on yourself as well. Make sure that you aren't playing cocky. Make sure that you aren't going in thinking, oh, well, we fucking destroyed these guys, so this is going to be easy now. To me, a better example than 2CP is King of the Hill. Like, where you play first round, so you have round 1. And this is even more true now, and it's like round 2, and potentially round 3. And then round 2, it's like, you know, this is like 99 to 0. And then you go into round 2, and it's like 99 to 99. And for some reason, when you enter round 3, people are still cocky. And it's like, no, we got fucking rolled. Or we got fucking pushed last game. Let's serious this up. And especially now that it's like a 3-round thing, just make sure that if it starts going wrong, and you're picking stuff that maybe, you know, you might pick a different hero, and you might think, well, I can try this hero in this game. Yeah, this guy's. Now it's time to start swapping back. Now it's time to start seriousing up. And just make sure you try and catch it as early as possible. Okay, so maybe you should ban a diva if there are supports nearby. Sure, yeah. It's variable. Like, what charge are you on? How much support does the diva have? The worst thing you could do is try and burn a diva while she has 2 supports on her. Because then she's just going to tank it, and sure, you'll kill the diva eventually, but you'll take so long doing it that you'll probably already lost the team fight. If the diva's on like half hit points, finishing off a diva is never a bad idea because you're the best one for it. So yeah, it's just a matter of sort of knowing the game and being flexible and going, okay, can I kill this diva quickly, and what does it free up for my team? Like if you're playing with Genji, Winston, Genji, Winston, Zarya, and fuck knows, Doomfist or whatever, killing the diva is not a really big priority. But if you're playing with like a Soldier 76 and he's sat on attack visor, kill the shit out of that diva. So it's just a matter of picking and choosing as well. If there's any others discording it as well, kill it. Burn it. How do you defend a pick on your team to stop toxicity before it spirals out of control? For example, a symmetric tilt someone. What do you say, or do you just shut up and accept that people are going to tilt? You generally, like, the best way of saying it is, like, I'm going to, like, what I would do, the way I would try and do it is say definitively, well, I'm going to play this. If it doesn't work, I'll swap, but I am going to play this. And especially if, like, the team comp, like, let's say, you know, you're playing Sim, and you have, you know, tank, DPS, what I would call, like, a big support, like Mercy or Anna, and then Symmetra. And you pick Symmetra, and people go, oh, well, why don't you pick a second healer? And you go, well, you know, we don't really need one if you have the Symmetra. I'm going to play Sim. If it doesn't work, I'll swap, don't worry. If it does work, hey, we're going to win. And if they go, oh, well, fuck off, then, well, you just ignore them, you can put them on mute, you can do whatever you like. You've picked this hero, it's purely up to you. To me, one of the big myths of Overwatch is the obligation to swap. It is polite to swap. It is commendable to swap. It maximizes your chances to win, perhaps occasionally, to swap. But there is no obligation to swap. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. Is, for example, I think that if you lock in a hero, and you play that hero to the best of your ability, I don't think it's a bannable offense if you don't swap that hero. Which sounds weird, but you have a right to play that hero just as much as this guy over here has his right to play this hero. So why doesn't this guy swap? And then you start getting into arguments of, well, this person should swap, well, this person should swap, well, you should swap, well, you should swap, and it becomes a fucking huge mess that you'll never be able to solve in-game. And yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. Like, it's the people who are, you know, who picked Hanzo and go, well, I have gold eliminations, and they have like 4 elims. And it's like, well, it doesn't fucking matter. No one's killing anything. So 4 eliminations is kind of meaningless. It's kind of pathetic all around. And if we had an actual pressuring DPS, then maybe other people will be able to do stuff. But you're never going to be able to explain this to these people during the game. It's kind of a controversial topic, and I'm aware that there are going to be very different schools of thought on this. Some people will think that it is appropriate to ban people that don't swap to fit the team comp. Sure, you can think that, and I leave it in Blizzard's hands. The one thing I will say is this as well, which is sort of the fundamental where this belief comes from, which is it is not a bannable offense to be bad at the game. Which is a very, very tumultuous thing to say, because sometimes, you know, then how do you differentiate intentionally throwing to actually just being bad? The difference to me is that people who intentionally throw can probably climb higher pretty easily, but people who are just bad at a hero or bad at the game in a certain way, they're just going to drop in rank, and matchmaking is going to sort them out, rather than the report system. People who intentionally throw need reporting to sort them out, people who don't need matchmaking to sort them out, and that's sort of the crux of that, I guess. Do you have any tips for creating a custom crosshair? Find crosshairs that you've enjoyed using in the past. Just find something that you are comfortable with. I, for example, use a relatively unique one, actually. So this is my crosshair. It doesn't show up super well on screen. Let me change this. So this is my crosshair. Okay, I like having the dot in the middle. A lot of people don't. Like, it's completely up to you. I also don't like having show accuracy, so I don't like it having bouncing in and out. There are a million and one different ways you can set this up. Actually, this crosshair isn't quite set up to exactly how I like it, which is, let me bring this down to 50. And bring this up to 100. Weird, like the lines look opaque compared to the dot, which is strange, which you shouldn't, but hey. Like, I like having the dot just for the center. My advice is make it a very small dot if you're going to have a dot. The key is just to have an indicator, because the worst thing you can have is, let's say that this is McCree's head. Howdy, I'm McCree. Oh wait, fuck, you can't see it. 1 second. Want to capture position size, fit to screen. There we go. So there's McCree, you can see him. The worst thing in my mind you can have is a dot that does this. Like, this is why I think yesterday we were talking about someone who had like the Incredible Hulk's nipple as his fucking crosshair. You don't want to cover his entire head, because then you have no good indicator if your crosshair is like here and it's covering McCree's head, or if it's like, you know, if you have a small dot, you can tell if you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here. If you have a big dot, then you can't fucking see his head. You can't fucking see. It's in the way. You know, to me, the sort of the weird, you know, the super weird thing is, oh, well, why don't you just have your dot this big then? Of course, you can't see the fucking game. Well, why is your dot unnecessarily large then? Make it as small as you can comfortably have it. That's kind of how I do it. Other than that, just experiment with stuff. My advice, put it in green. The reason why you put it in green is that Overwatch has 2 colors, primarily. Blue for your team, red for the enemy. Green contrasts with both if you have it on anything else. So they give you a huge list of colors. Especially red is like the important one. Do I actually have a red? I have an orange. Like, if I draw an orange line through this, let's actually just clear all this off. Whoops. And I draw a red line through this. Like, you're looking for the stuff with like the highest contrast. White contrasts pretty well, but could get lost maybe in map details. Like, there's a lot of white walls in Overwatch, so you don't want that. Green contrasts very heavily with red. They are literally contrasting colors. Teal contrasts, but does blend into stuff that is friendly, for example. Red, of course, does not. It just blurs in. You can barely see any difference. Magenta kind of does. Yellow does. Black will just, like, contrast, like, a lot of walls and stuff it will mix into. And so you want something bright, but you want something that doesn't sort of hit walls as well, that doesn't blend into walls. So that's why the green is pretty powerful. So I recommend using green. It is purely a personal thing, though. Experiment. That's all you can do. Emotes. Emotes. Go with the mystery gifts for a while. Okay, maybe. So yeah, we did that one. Waff off. If someone is toxic with another player, do you take the time to defuse a bomb or just let it go? It can sometimes get frustrating to act like a parent mediator. Any suggestion? Personally, I just let it go most times. Like, it's not my job to babysit. And the thing with me is this: I enjoy playing Overwatch, and I enjoy playing my own game of Overwatch. This is why you don't see me complain in-game if I see, like, if I join a team and the team in ranked is like Hanzo, McCree, Widowmaker, Symmetra, Pharah, and then me. I don't go into team chat and go, what the fuck, guys? I go, well, okay, if these guys are going to play this shit and we're going to lose, then okay, whatever. Like, I'll just play whatever I want to play. I've seen games be won with wacky as fuck team comps. I've seen games be lost with standard team comps. I'm just going to go and play the best game of Overwatch that I can, because that's the only thing that I can really control, is what I'm doing. So to me, it is not my job to be a parent. If someone is being obnoxious, if 2 people are just shouting at each other and being obnoxious, I'll just report both of them. Like, I don't want these people in my game. I don't want these people just shouting. I don't want these people just fucking yelling at each other and yelling at other people. Why would I want them in my game? So get rid of them. Since you coached the UK team, how did you train or develop the mentality and of the steel to calmly execute stuff without panicking? That was completely unnecessary with these guys. And like my coaching on the UK team was, you know, most of it was haze. Let me put it this way. Most of it was haze. I occasionally chipped in with stuff that I saw that looked incorrect. The thing with pros is they don't have those nerves. Stage fright is the only one that could be there, and Sty was actually helping a lot with that at the event, because Sty was at the event and understands psychology. Sty gave them a lot of really good advice in doing that. The advice that I will give you as a player is the more you play, the less you feel it. The more you play, the less you will panic. If you really do feel nervous in 1v1s and stuff, go and play free-for-all as much as you can. Go play quick play, and then go play ranked. You will feel nervous. You will feel scared in your first couple of games of ranked. You'll feel scared probably after your first 20 games. Sometimes I feel scared going into ranked. Even now, because I'm streaming in front of a shitload of people, I don't want to look bad. I don't want to embarrass myself. But like the judgment of other people feels less relevant to me. So... And the thing is, you will have good games and you'll have bad games. And the more you play, the less the bad games feel like they have an impact. You'll have games where people are just shouting at each other nonstop. You'll have games where people are throwing. But the more you play, the more statistically irrelevant those games feel. And you'll have more just normal games of Overwatch. So yeah, those guys, like, psychology on pros, you don't need to teach them to remain calm. The big thing is on LAN, people that react differently. Luckily on the UK team, 5 out of 6 of those guys had already been to LANs. Smex was the only one that hadn't. And Smex then had the experienced guys sort of to look to and to help support him. They knew it was his first LAN as well. They were encouraging to him. They sort of made him laugh. And the one piece of advice that Sty gave them that I fucking love, and you notice this if you watch the VODs of Team UK, is the way the teams were set up. They had like 2 benches like this, and then you had like player, 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 player. So this guy here on the end, this was Smex. He was closest to the enemy team. Why was he closest to the enemy team? I don't know if this was fully intentional or not. I don't know if this is just how they decided to sit. But Smex was closest to the enemy team. And the advice that Stylosa gave them is this. Because we knew that we were going to do very well, especially against our first opponents, which was Belgium, who were probably going to be the weakest in the group. We knew that we were going to probably fucking smash Belgium. Like, it wasn't going to be a problem. And so the advice we gave is this, or the advice Sty gave is this, which I think is fucking genius. If you're ever feeling nervous, you're ever feeling a bit sweaty, just look at the other team, because I guarantee you those guys are going to be more fucking miserable than you are. And what do you know? Our team was laughing, having fun, having a good time, supporting each other, super, super happy. Their teams, when they were playing us, all looked fucking miserable. You know, you could see the despair on their faces as they were getting hammered into the ground again and again and again. And you could see between rounds, occasionally when the camera pans over, you could see Smex looking over and then like tapping someone and going, look at these guys. Look at how miserable they are. Look at what we're doing to them. And it's, you know, it sounds like poor sportsmanship, but it's not. It's in the moment. They need that adrenaline. They need that mentality of winning, of crushing, of destroying to really elevate their play and to keep them confident, to keep them feeling good, to keep them feeling fresh, to keep them enjoying it, and to keep them doing what they were doing. And it worked. I will say, like, some of these players as well, Mikey especially, has like this long story of MGE Mike on LAN. In TF2, apparently he was a fucking god on LAN non-stop. He looked a bit shaky in the finals, in the qualifying finals. So I don't know. Maybe he does get a little bit nervous, but it's up to the team to support each other and stuff like that. But when playing in competitive, of course, this shit is largely irrelevant. Just play as much as you can, and you'll feel better. Like, as someone who had ladder anxiety, StarCraft beat it out of me slightly, and then sort of playing more and more Overwatch and streaming Overwatch helped me get through it as well. Let's focus on the questions. How do you get toxic people out of your mind? If I encounter these people, I mute them, but just knowing they're going to do shit ruins my entire mood, and I feel really bad because I feel like I can't do anything against it. These people around me don't have fun, as I tend to copy the mood of people around me. You just got to accept them as a fact of life. Like, they are a part and parcel. We're playing games on the internet. There are going to be toxic people. There are going to be people who have joined the game looking to ruin other people's fun, or they've joined a game after playing a really shit game. They're going to carry the bad mood into your game and then sort of cause issues. Day 9's piece about toxicity I thought was really fucking appropriate and really fucking clever. I don't know if he's got this information from other people. The thing with toxicity is this. Remember when I talked about like the 2 threads? And you got people who join the game going, I'm gonna pick Hanzo, lol. There's nothing you can do. Like, those guys are not actually a problem, because those guys are very easy to find and ban. Those guys are very, very easy to single out, report, and ban. So you got these people 1. The problem is when people 1 affect people number 2. People number 2. Let's focus on people number 2. Beautiful phrasing by me. So person 2 gets infected by the toxicity. He gets poisoned by the toxicity. And so now he's in a bad mood. And so he's going to go on, and then he perceives something as wrong. It's like, oh, well, this guy's fucking throwing, but you're doing fucking terrible too. So then he goes and puts person number 3 in a bad mood. Or people number 3 in a bad mood. People number 3 goes on and puts people number 4 in a bad mood. These people are all kind of technically innocent. They just sort of had this chain of toxicity, all from this person, sort of passing along. And this is the danger of when you have mentalities like this, of like letting it really get to you. You can very easily become person number 2. And then you join a game and you go, well, I had a fucking shithead in my last game and you're doing fucking shit this time. Fuck this game. I hate this game. It's terrible. It's bad. I hate playing it. Whingy bullshit that no one actually wants to hear in game. And then you spawn person number 3, and then person number 3 goes on and joins the next game and goes, oh, well, I had a fucking whiny bastard in my last game, blah, 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 and so on, so on, so on, so on. So, like, these people aren't really the problem. These people are the problem. Report these people ASAP. If people do get really badly hostile and really badly tilted, report them also, because they're probably not healthy for the game, or the first punitive action might make them go, maybe I was acting a bit of a cock. Maybe. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you go, well, what the fuck did I do? Meh. Yeah, you've just got to sort of learn to let it go. And I understand that, like, muting them doesn't make them go away, but it's better than listening to their drivel. Dealing with shit that upsets you is an important part of life in general. Learn to cope with it. Sea Surfer? No. 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 I work hard to build a grab and combo something obvious, even trying to communicate. And then the idiot throws the ult randomly. What do I do with my once a fucking point ultimate? You just try and win without the Dragon Strike. You don't need it to win, so you just use it at a point that is appropriate anyway. You're going to use it at a point that is appropriate. You're still going to use it as a point that is appropriate, but you're not going to have a wombo combo ult to really seal the deal. So you might be a little bit more careful with it. There's not much you can do. The thing you got to trust in, like, my advice to this is, you sound frustrated. Don't be. Case in point, if I'm playing Soldier 76, and I have an Ana, and Ana has Nano Boost, and Ana goes, I'm going to nano you. And then Ana is like 3 miles away around the corner and can't see me, but I see a perfect golden fucking opportunity to tack visor. I am going to tack visor. I am going to get the kills with the attack visor without the nano boost. Ana can find something fucking else to nano. I am not going to save my ultimate when there is a good opportunity to use it just because there is a potential for a combo. I am going to factor the combo into my calculation of, is this worth it? But I'm not going to forsake the opportunity. Maybe that Hanzo saw an opportunity. Maybe that Hanzo saw that he could get 2 kills or 3 kills or finish some targets off. Whatever. He saw something, he used his resources, he's made a conscious decision of, hey, well, there was no grab, but I saw this opportunity to get some kills regardless and win us a team fight without having to use 2 ultimates to do it, just use 1. Why get angry at him for that? I think that's all I can say on that one. There is a common saying around online communities that you should have thick skin, receive an offense, and then ignore the offense, mute, and report. But there are some people that can't do the ignore part because of many reasons. Those who prefer to close chat, training team communication for peace of mind, and ability to play it all. Just wanted to tell these people that these are normal, and you can only tell how thick your skin is. Yeah, listen, if you are not having fun with Overwatch, but you want to play Overwatch, but you can't deal with the bullshit of people communicating nonsense and obscene shite to you, then don't feel bad about muting the game and muting the chat. You don't have to deal with that. Overwatch is a game at its best when people are communicating and playing with each other and having fun with each other. But there is a random element to that. And people can be unfun. Don't let it stop you enjoying the game. Sorry, I missed a question here. And yeah, like, you know, so if you are, what I will say is that how to phrase this? There is a habit that has always existed of people being, but it's becoming more prevalent as there are more and more echo chambers in the world, and there are more and more places where people will resonate your own thoughts back to you, resonate your own ideas back to you. If someone is shouting at you and telling you you're shit, it's not helpful. It's not helpful, it's not useful. Mute it. Don't say, man, you really aren't doing much. There might be something to it. Don't be offended by things unless you really need to be offended by them. Understand that people will say things out of frustration very quick. Like, people will not say anything for a while, and then they'll burst and say stuff out of frustration as well. And so, by you getting frustrated at that person, you're just escalating the situation. And that you are under no obligation to listen to anyone else. Not me, not anyone else. But try and avoid being offended by things. Save offense for things that are worth being offended by. That's all I can really say. If someone challenges you with an idea you don't like or you don't agree with, reason out where that idea or notion is coming from, reason out where that frustration might be coming from, reason out where they might think that you're doing badly, reason out where that they might think that you are doing something wrong is coming from, and then try and understand their worldview and then try and develop from there. And that's all you can try and do. You are not wrong though in saying that if you're playing in online communities, the anonymity of the internet does factor into things. To me, the biggest factor as well is, especially if you are around the middle of the Overwatch pack, you know, you're playing even up to Diamond, I'd say the player base is large enough where you're probably not going to meet that. Like, if you meet a person who's really toxic, go and play a free-for-all for 10 minutes, then come back and play online, play another rank game. Odds are you're not going to get the same people again. You're probably never going to see those people again. So you just move on with your life. What about option 3? Oh my god, 3 DPS, fuck off, I'm going to play 12 unless someone switches. Then you report that person for intentionally throwing. 3 DPS can work. Like, there are pro comps with 3 DPS. 3 DPS can actually work. Technically, no one is under an obligation to swap. It's purely in their wheelhouse. It's purely up to them to swap, whether or not they want to swap. And this person is going around it the wrong way as well. Just throwing like a challenge and trying to hold the game to ransom. Do as I say or I will throw is not a good negotiating position. It's obnoxious. How do you deal with a team that picks an unworkable comp, then tilts, then wins, and you feel like and you feel like any moment something is going to break? Weirdly, my approach to the game helps with that immensely, which is when a team comp is not meta, and like, I follow the fucking pro meta. I watch the pro meta. I see what pros are playing. I keep an eye on the top 100 and see what those guys are playing, what those guys are doing. I know what heroes are most viable usually at any given moment, and yet I have an account called Talon where I pick heroes that are intentionally not viable. What the fuck is the deal with that? The deal with that is this: people are going to pick what they're going to pick. They're going to play what they're going to play. If someone wants to play a hero that, you know, if someone picks Hanzo and wants to play Hanzo, I will go, like, I will turn to you guys and go, oh god, it's a Hanzo. But I'm not going to fucking just yell at them in game for it. Why? What's that going to do? If we start losing, you know, I might say, but usually I don't, but I might say, hey, like, we can swap this. But usually I leave it to the other guy to maybe realize that his Hanzo is losing us the game. And if he doesn't realize that, maybe we deserve to lose. I realize it, but he doesn't. So whatever, he deserves to lose. And therefore him losing is going to cause me to lose. Okay, whatever. I'll win the next one. Move on. Ooh. If I can't build charge because of incompetent opponents, do I swap away or keep killing? If you really struggle to build charge, swapping is not a bad idea. Like, Roadhog is actually creeping back in, so you might be able to swap to Roadhog, for example. I just think when Zarya gets red, she should save her charge. Nah, that would be way too powerful. Like, Zarya on high charge is overpowered. The weakness of Zarya is that she's underpowered when she comes out of the spawn door, and that's an intentional weakness. I quite like it. I'm around plan. It always makes me nervous to see 2 off tanks in the tank slots, but I've seen it work and work way better than when we had Orion. I still haven't figured out why it works. Is there any team comps on maps where you choose 2 off tanks instead of a shield? The reason why it works is because those guys might just be good at playing those heroes. The enemy team might be bad at, like, understanding how to exploit a team without a Reinhardt or a Winston. Right now, dive meta is also very powerful. The off tanks in general deal more DPS, and so if the enemy team plays around it badly, you're just going to win. Like, this is something I notice with the Talon account, which is that people in Platinum and Gold really get caught up on meta. really get caught up in meta. And the irony is, until you hit Master and Grandmaster, and like probably just Grandmaster, meta doesn't really make a huge difference. Meta increases the chance you're going to win. But unless you're playing all these heroes, you know, especially like in dive meta, are you kidding me? A gold Genji and Tracer? Not going to have the same impact as a Grandmaster Genji and Tracer. Nowhere near the same impact. So why do people in gold shriek to play dive? Why do people in gold shriek for a Winston when they could play Soldier and Pharah and just blast the enemy team way easier? Like, it seems so silly to me. It seems so utterly silly to me. And so you don't need the main tank until you're hitting like a point where the enemy team is clearly crushing you without one. And this all sort of falls back to the idea again of if you have a team comp without a super high main tank, just play it, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you need the Reinhardt, you need the Reinhardt. And you say, hey guys, we could probably use a Reinhardt here. And then someone might swap and agree with you. But otherwise, see how it goes, see how it works. Don't stress out your team by being that person in chat who's the first one to go, guys, we really have to have this. If we don't have this, then we're going to lose. Because I've played games where we've had like 6 DPS and we've won in Masters. It happens. When is it okay to countergrab? Rarely. It's okay to countergrab if you have like an Earth Shatter or you have a support ultimate to keep you alive, but the problem with countergrabbing is that the first grab usually wins. It's sometimes, it's just an extremely risky move, and if it backfires, I'm going to reference the probing the many we did the other day when talking about E United, sort of putting things in coin flips. What you're doing is exactly the same thing. You're putting it into a coin flip. So, if the enemy team, like think of it in terms of economy. If the enemy team goes in and they use Grav, they might have a 100% chance to win the fight. Okay? Now, they will win that team fight because they use Grav, you don't have support ultimate, whatever. If they use Grav and you use Grav, so you both Grav, then there's a 50% chance. But this is thinking in terms of an isolated team fight. What if they Grav, they kill you, okay, you come back, and then next fight, you know that they don't have a Grav, and you can win the next fight. Or you can play in the next fight purely in the knowledge that their ZARYA does not have a Graviton Surge, you regroup, you come back in, and you Grav. If you're defending, of course, it's a little bit different. If you're defending on 2CP, for example, then having this, you know, you might not get another fight, so this 50% is better than the 0. That you would have up here. So yeah, it's sort of a matter of thinking of it like this, where if you, and also don't underestimate the psychological impact, which is if you